bit about what your thinking was behind the development of this guide?
Yes, well, it was a number of things really. First of all, this was very much an issue which was raised by some colleagues in our nursing department. They were unclear about what advice they should give to students in relation to disclosing disabilities, particularly dyslexia in fact, and sought advice. So that's what originally prompted us to start thinking about providing some guidance. It was clearly also an issue for our disability and dyslexia service, that students sometimes got quite anxious about going out on placement, etc. We wanted to get staff and students to understand the importance of disclosure, and also, just like on field trips and things, when they're going out on placement, to give them opportunities to disclose a particular disability or some additional need which they hadn't previously disclosed. So that was one aspect of it. We'd also, in terms of the work that we've been doing around placements and work-based learning, we wanted to make sure that we were being inclusive in relation to that as well. The university's got a strong reputation for inclusive practice, and we've been working hard on it with staff and with students over a number of years. But most of our courses now do include a work placement of some kind, or a work experience. It may be optional, it may be mandatory. So we wanted to promote good practice in relation to that.
So, Mari, could you tell me a little bit about the format of the guide, please?
Yes, I think it's based on the principle, essentially, that what's good practice for disabled students is good practice for all students. That's why we've taken the approach that we have. We really wanted to get people to think about their practice on a step-by-step basis. So we took them through the main kind of steps in working towards providing good placements for all students, but particularly building in consideration of disabled students in relation to any reasonable adjustments which might have to be made, any additional support that they might need. So essentially what we've done is provide a kind of one-page summary of kind of the steps in terms of thinking about organising a placement that you might have and the action, and then that's followed up by a series of questions essentially which are intended to help staff reflect on their practice, from things like curriculum planning, because it very often inclusive practice does start from the whole planning and design process of the curriculum. The procedures for helping students to obtain a placement and approve a placement, the arrangements in relation to support and briefing of students, right through to communications with employers, possibility, for example, of having a written contract in place, and review and evaluation. So all of those steps, we've got a series of questions in relation to that to reflect on practice. And then, in order to make it a bit more real, we've included quite a number of case studies and student profiles about the kinds of reasonable adjustments in relation to real students which have been made in order to facilitate them going out on placement or practice in some ways. But we've also included a section which is about specific disabilities, and this is based on our website strategies for creating inclusive programmes of study, what is called SKIPS, and there it gives some of the detail about specific disabilities and the challenges, and how a member of staff who's responsible for placements might actually take that into account when you're thinking about specific students going out.
And how did you go about making staff aware of this new resource?
Well, we First of all, we felt it was important that it looked nice and was user friendly. So we actually got it professionally designed and made to look attractive. That's why it's in the format that it is. And I do feel that that's important. But then we made a copy available to all our courses which have a work-based learning element or a practice placement. So it was distributed in that way, but we've used it more extensively, making it available at our learning and teaching conferences, and we have an annual employability conference. We've made it available to staff in our partner colleges as well. So it was widely distributed. There is an electronic version available on our learning and teaching web pages as well, so that it can be kind of hyperlinked into documents as well. And in terms of the guidance we provide for new courses, we make a link to it there. In terms of its impact, well, of course, anything like that is really difficult to tell. Had some positive feedback from staff about how useful it is, but perhaps more tellingly, we do a biannual survey of disabled students, just an electronic survey asking them about their experiences. And we've done that, so the first one was carried out before this guide was available, the second one carried out after it was available, and I'm not sure whether you can obviously link this, but there was a 9% improvement in the scores for accessibility of work placements between those two surveys. I think it's quite interesting that actually via that survey a significant number of students actually, when they're asked what are the two best things about your course at the University of Worcester, they say work placements. They're very positive about that. And when you ask them what are things, we ask them what are the two things you would suggest we could improve, work placements and particularly staff understanding both of disability issues and staff in placements understanding of disability issues is something which is frequently mentioned. So I'm not sure that we're there yet, but this is part of our kind of general approach of raising staff's awareness and understanding of the issues and really trying to help them in reflecting on their practice and thinking through in practical ways how they can make a difference. It's a drip approach, and we're still working on this, and we're trying to integrate consideration of these issues into other initiatives. So we're about to set up what we call a special interest group on work-based learning and placements, which will bring together staff who are responsible for making arrangements for those so they can share practice, etc. And our next employability conference is likely to be on inclusion and employability and work-based learning, etc. And I'm sure that this theme will be part of that conference as well. So it's an ongoing project, really.
Thank you very much, Mari.